Hello and welcome to another episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. I'd like to thank you for joining me. On today's show, we are talking the Camp Verde Sports Complex and the new trails that were added to the complex, and we are speaking with, in studio, Camp Verde Parks and Recreation Manager Mike Marshall. Mike, welcome back onto the show.
Thanks for having me. Always good to come in and talk about what we got going on.
It has been a while since we've talked. It's been an entire pandemic since we've seen each other. So we want to start out just kind of refreshing everybody's memory as to where the sports complex is, what it is, how that project got started, and more importantly, where we are today. So Mike, the Camp Verde Sports Complex, I remember you coming in here a while ago to talk about that project in its infancy. Where are we today with it? And like I said, just if you could just give us a brief, just sort of rundown of what it is.
Sure. Well, the recreation was one of the main reasons when the town was incorporated back in the 80s, wanted more recreation. This particular piece of land was bought from the Forest Service in 2008, about a 110-acre parcel with plans at that time to begin construction pretty quickly on a sports complex. 2009 comes along. Suddenly not doing anything for that. The grant money that was available at that point was withdrawn. So it's something that we've been, on the back burner. A few years ago when the completion of the new library was coming up, the town said, look, now we're going to move on to working on the sports complex. We started the bid process and got the design work done out there. And we did the first phase, which was basically all the infrastructure, which is not very exciting, but is really important. We had to get power, we had to get water, we had to get sewer, we had to get electricity, we had to get a road in there. The land had to be graded, we had to deal with the stormwater issues and that kind of stuff. And basically get all that preparation so we can start building the fields and having a master plan. And then we started working on the fields. Things were going pretty good last year. We had a couple delays because of improving economic conditions, drove some of the costs up a little bit. But we started working last year on grass and those kinds of things. Everybody's really excited. COVID comes along and suddenly we're slowed up with a lot of our work out there. And the biggest thing that's been holding us up right now is not the contractor. The contractor, Tierra Verde Building in Camp Verde, the general, has done a really great job of working through and making progress. But we're looking to apply, we have applied for Land and Water Conservation Fund grant. It's $2.5 million of matching, 50-50 match. And because of COVID, we can't get a decision on that. That has really held us up for several months. It's now back in the process of being reviewed. We just got an email yesterday that actually it's re-entered the review process. They've opened things up. So we're hoping in the next few months we will get a decision. That's $2.5 million added to the $2.5 million we have available would give us $5 million to complete this next phase of the complex. So the field lighting, the playgrounds, the concession and restroom building, tennis courts, pickleball courts, all those kinds of things would be feasible under this phase. Trouble is, if we spend any money now, it doesn't count as grant money. It doesn't count as the match towards that. So if we were to spend, say, $1 million or $1.5 million now, making progress, and which we'd love to do, suddenly they approve us for the grant and say, okay, where's your match? And we say, well, we've only got $1 million left for the match. Oh, you're only going to get $1 million match, which would give us, $3 million worth of a project as opposed to $5 million. So that's been the holdup. It's been frustrating for us, but the end of the tunnel is in sight. It's not a locomotive coming the other way, so we're happy about that. And we're ready to go. Right. Once we get the approval, the contractor, all the plans are done, the contractor and the subs are ready. It's just a matter of when we get the word to go ahead and start doing more construction.
And there's a lot, I loved, even the first time you came in and talked about this project when you guys hadn't even really started it yet. There's a lot of great features to this project. Obviously, right now, and there's some more plans in place. You see up there on your screen, if you're watching on Verdi Valley TV, we've got the plans there. But for those of you who are listening on the radio, there will be 2 baseball and softball fields. Right now, I know there's an expansion for more. We'll talk about that in a second. Currently, 8 pickleball courts, 2 tennis courts, 2 soccer football fields, concessions, obviously. Big open space space right now up on the top left of the map right now. So just kind of an open grass area again for those of you who are listening on radio. There are plans for future expansion. Again, those of you who are watching on your screen, you can see on the right there's a big sort of shaded area that's got some writing on it. So can we talk a little bit about the future additions to this already a beautiful sports complex?
Yeah, like as you say, we've got 2 baseball, softball fields and 2 soccer field, football fields coming
with
out.
Underground draining too. I forgot to mention that. Yes,
that's a big deal. One of the problems we have with our existing field at Butler Park is when it rains, it's at the bottom of the hill, it's saturated, and you can't play on it until it dries out, which can be a significant amount of time. These fields will all have underfield drainage, so they're a sand-based grass. The water flows quickly through that into the underfield drainage and is carried away, and in a much shorter time, the field is ready to play on without you damaging it, because it's so muddy and soft.
Right.
So yeah, the stuff to the east side, the right side of the map, is a plan for 4 more softball / baseball fields that will be built in the future. We don't have any time frame on that right now, but one of the big advantages with that particular part is because the town spent the money on the infrastructure and the grading preparation, those fields are ready to start construction once we get the funding. They already have rough graded within a few inches of the final place they need to be to start construction. All of the utilities are available, the irrigation water, the potable water lines, the electricity, all the stuff you need to make that happen is already there. So it would be pretty quick to start the actual construction of the fields. And we'll obviously be going to look at grant money for some of those things to see if we can get that finished out. And that will be a huge addition. There's other things around the park that we're going to expand and add to. There's a space down at in the center of the park on the lower side that has a little block that says community center. And people say, well, what's that? Well, one day it's going to be a community center. And they say, what's it going to look like? Well, I don't know. I have a couple ideas of what I think should be in there and stuff, but the key is we have planned for a space with infrastructure and parking that's in good relationship to the rest of the facilities, that we can have a community center building there at some point that will support this stuff. Things like the playground area that's going to be to the east side of the baseball fields at the moment. We'll start with a relatively small, play area, but that part is going to be the center of the park at some point. That playscape area will be the center of all of the fields, the center of the community center, and it's a very large area. It's about 150 by 300 feet. So we have the potential to grow that hub, that center, to be a very large area with lots of play features, shade kiosks, for picnic ramadas, maybe a couple, outdoor basketball courts,
of course,
whatever kinds of things we can do out there. And that's just in the sort of the central hub area that we're talking about.
Yeah, and then Mike, before we go to break, we've just got a couple seconds here. When can kids start playing games on this? That's kind of the big question.
Big question. And again, a lot of that is with Land and Water Conservation Fund, but the soccer and football fields will be ready to play this fall. We just need to do some more work on the turf and get a couple of the amenities around, but that'll be ready. Unfortunately, because of the delay with the grant funding, baseball and softball will be spring of next year, which is not what we were hoping for.
Yeah, but still exciting. You get an opportunity to get some kids out there playing. Yeah, exactly. Playing some football and soccer this fall, which is great. We get some more youth sports going on here in the Verdi Valley, which I know have been needed for a little while. But we're going to keep talking about the sports complex. Mike Marshall of Camp Verde Parks and Recreation, he is the manager for that department. They added some new trails in the area. We'll talk about that when we come back. Countywide, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
Your carpet is the largest air filter in your home, trapping dust, dirt, and germs from the air that your family members breathe. even the furriest ones.
That's why it's important to keep your carpet and tile clean and hygienic with regular cleanings by Zero Res. Zero Res uses state-of-the-art technology and powered water, not soap or harsh chemicals, so zero residue is left on home surfaces.
Schedule your appointment today because a clean home is a healthy home. Visit ZeroResNorthernArizona.com.
Hi, this is Greg at Verdi Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verdi Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
I want to welcome you back here to Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. On today's show, we are speaking with Camp Verde Parks and Recreation Manager Mike Marshall. We are speaking about the Camp Verde Sports Complex, a new sports complex that will have a lot of features to it, including 2 baseball, softball fields, a bunch of pickleball courts, and a lot more cool stuff coming up in the future. We're getting very close to getting some kids playing on these parks. We'll have some football and soccer going on in the fall, and then we'll have baseball and softball in the spring. Very, very exciting. I'm a very big proponent of youth sports. I was talking with Mike on the break about how much I love this project and cannot wait to see it completely done. But there were some other things added to the sports complex, some new trails added in the area, Mike. This is a recent addition. Let's talk about that project, how it got started, and where we're at with it today.
Yeah, the Forest Service just completed a 5.5-mile loop to the east and north of the park. Loops out, goes past the Equestrian Center, up on top of the mesa. Dynamite views looking across the valley and down the valley, and then back down the other side and into the park. When we started the park, one of the things that we wanted to do was use this as a hub for access to the trails out beyond the park on the Forest Service land. The first thing we actually built at the park was a perimeter loop trail within the park as part of that construction. I got a grant for that a few years ago when it was just no land out there. And that's a 1.6-mile, 10-foot wide loop in the park. Along with that, we have a nice big parking lot, trailhead information, and then the Forest Service got a grant through the Yavapai County Recreational Advisory Committee. I think it was about $60,000, and they built this trail with a crew from American Conservation Experience, which is basically a civilian conservation corps, you know, the new version of that, that built that trail. It opened about a month ago. It's gotten a lot of use, very popular. It's a nice trail. It rises about 500 or 600 feet, so it's not a real steep trail. 5.5 miles. You can take the short version up to the top, or you can take the longer version, make the big loop. We have added some signage and are still in the process of adding some signage in the park to help connect to that. We actually also added some roughed out some trails around what's going to be our irrigation pond area and stuff to make we put in some trail sign markers. We've actually got a kid who's doing an Eagle Scout project who's he and his group put in the actual 4x4 metal posts, cemented those in, and then they're in the process of putting the little markers on that tell you how to get to where you want to go with that. So we're really excited, and this is the first of what we hope is going to be more trails out of the park. Right. You know, once we have that access, there's the Forest Service just recently added a new piece of property on the edge of Beaver Creek, up near the confluence of Beaver Creek and the Verdi River. We refer to it as the Toy property. It was owned by the Toy family. The Nature Conservancy bought that. Did some rehab work on it, took down some buildings, built some trails, and now it's been turned over to the Forest Service. We're hoping to make a trail that leads from our pond area up in the northern part of the park and goes northwest around and joins up with that property. And that will allow you to then leave that property and make a loop back through town if you wanted to and come back to the park. And again, with the existing trails, once you get up on the top, now you have access to the rest of that Forest Service land up there. There's already some social trails up there. There's already forest roads. And again, if we can begin to add to the network, the Beaver Creek Trails Coalition has done a lot of work over at Beaver Creek, Lake Montezuma area. This kind of stuff we want to connect to their network of trails eventually, so that you can, park here, leave the park, go through several different trails on the forest land, connect over to the Montezuma Castle area, take over to Beaver Creek area, and either then make a big loop back or go from one end to the other, biking, hiking, horses. It's a big opportunity area up there.
Yeah, very much so. And I mean, just looking at it on the map, it seems like you mentioned, this trail is very expansive. It's very large. There's the shorter versions. There's the longer versions. Mm-hmm. There are multiple smaller trails within the larger loop trail. I'm a big avid hiker. Since coming up here to northern Arizona, I've been hiking a lot more, and something like this gets me real excited because I get a chance to do a 5-mile hike. But how does, in terms of directly, how does this help the sports complex having that accessibility like that?
Well, I think a part of it is that we call it the sports complex. It is a sports complex, and right now our focus is on the traditional youth sports, baseball, softball, soccer, football. But this complex is a huge community resource, and we want to have outdoor activities for lots of different interests. Hiking, biking, equestrian is one of them. Right. With these trails. We've got the ability with the trail within the park is a stabilized surface. If you want to take your stroller out there and wheel along the stroller on a relatively flat trail that's a good surface, if you want to jog, that's available to you. And then all of this other extra things that we can add out there, the tennis, the pickleball thing. We put in a grant for a disc golf course. We want to add a disc golf course. We have an area to the southern part of the complex. Mm-hmm. that is mostly, it doesn't even show on the map. Oh. There. It's mostly an ADOT flood control basin.
Okay.
It's filled with vegetation and trees and
if anything, it's a fire hazard in my opinion.
Well, that's not too bad, but there's an area that would be great for the disc golf course. Right. Up and down the hills, across the area. If it gets wet, okay, so it gets wet. Don't play disc golf for a couple of weeks or whatever, because it's kind of muddy down there.
Right.
Again, all those opportunities in here. And one of the problems with the trail stuff is the Forest Service has some difficulty with trailheads. It's not their specialty. Right. It takes up a chunk of land. So by us having a really good trailhead resource, and then we can make trails out of there that can go, extensively in other directions. We worked with the International Mountain Bike Association people. Were in a couple years ago, and there's talk of additional mountain bike stuff sort of out along the General Crook Trail area, the Route 260 area. Again, this could be used as one of the hub access points to a network of trails that head out well beyond that facility. And this allows you to access it, a place to park your vehicle, have signage, have restrooms, have visitor information potentially at some point to say, okay, I'm gonna leave here and I'm gonna go spend the day out on the National Forest, enjoying it and using this as a base.
Very exciting additions to the Camp Verde Sports Complex that we cannot wait to get started. And I know Mike's excited to get it all the way complete, and I can't wait to get a chance to go out there and check out some of the features and the amenities. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Camp Verde Parks and Recreation Manager Mike Marshall on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
Your carpet is the largest air filter in your home, trapping dust, dirt, and germs from the air that your family members breathe, even the furriest ones.
That's why it's important to keep your carpet and tile clean and hygienic with regular cleanings by Zero Res. Zero Res uses state-of-the-art technology and powered water, not soap or harsh chemicals, so zero residue is left on home surfaces.
Schedule your appointment today because a clean home is a healthy home. Visit ZeroResNorthernArizona.com.
Hi, this is Greg at Verdi Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verdi Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Welcome back to Countywide. On today's show, we are talking the Camp Verde Sports Complex with Camp Verde Parks and Recreation Manager Mike Marshall. We talked about the park. It is a beautiful facility that we'll be getting some kids playing some sports there very soon. They'll be getting some football and soccer done in the fall, and then baseball and softball in the spring. Also added some beautiful trails, and there are some more projects coming up for the sports complex. COVID slowed you guys down a little bit, but progress is being made again as we are slowly coming out of the absolute nightmare that was 2020. But on the positive side, though, Mike, you didn't get a chance to host the Pecan and Wine Festival last year. You did get to host it this year. How was the reception and attendance this year? It was hosted in the middle of last month. And what other annual events are you looking forward to hosting that you did not get to host last year?
Yeah, we were real happy with Pecan and Wine. Normally it's the third weekend in March. We pushed it to the third weekend in April, thinking things would be better, and we were right. Resounding success. We had a really great response with the public. We had probably close to 6,000 people there over the 2 days, which is on par with what we expected. The wineries did very well. We changed a lot of the activities as far as add additional space, reduced our inside stuff. The wine tent, which is a big feature of the Pecan and Wine Festival, is normally a large enclosed tent. We went with a large canopy style tent that was mostly open. The funny thing is there's several things that we did there and also last fall at Fort Verde Days that we did because of COVID that we actually like better, and we're going to continue. You know, some of it is internal things for us, is how we arrange the fields, how we line up the vendors to give extra space. A couple things. We have hand washing stations, which is like, why didn't we have hand washing stations in the past?
That's a good point.
I mean, you know, why do there's bathrooms over there you can wash your hands, but why isn't there out on the field next to the food vendor? So we're really looking forward to our next event, which is Corn Fest, which is July 17th. It's a one-day event. It's basically a street fair type setup. We've done last year we weren't able to do it, but we closed down Holloman Street. We have several food trucks. We have a lot of other different vendors, a lot of outside activities. We also have inside activities in the gym as far as vendors in there and a place to get in. This year we're adding a large shade canopy with outside for people to eat, and also listen to bands. We'll have different bands playing, you know, over the course of the day as we've done before. We've got a couple other activities that are joining us. 2 years ago there was a kickboxing event on the field. They're going to be coming back, it looks like, and doing that on the field.
Very nice.
The Camp Verde Arena Association is talking about a demolition derby that weekend as a potential for that to kind of tie in. So to give you other things to do in town over the course of the weekend, in addition to what we've got planned for Corn Fest itself on Saturday the 17th of July. So how
exciting! A kickboxing festival and demolition
derby.
I was going to say roller derby. I completely forgot.
Well, maybe there'll be roller derby.
Yeah, maybe we can add to the sports complex.
Absolutely.
But Mike, as always, thank you very much for coming in and getting us up to speed on this project. I can't wait to retouch upon this later and just see where we're at from where we were before and where we're at now. But any information that you want for the Parks and Recreation Department, or if you live in Camp Verde and just want information on Corn Fest or the sports complex in general, campverde.az.gov is their website. The number is 928-554-0820. Mike, Thank you very much for coming on. That is going to do it for this episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo, wishing you a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again next time.